It was supposed to be the happiest week of my life. Invitations were sent, the venue was booked, and my fiancée, Claire, had meticulously planned every detail of our wedding. Friends and family were flying in, hotel rooms were booked, and the countdown had begun. But a single phone call changed everything. It was Claire, her voice trembling, asking if we could meet in person. She said it was important. I assumed it was pre-wedding nerves, maybe a last-minute detail she wanted to run by me. But when I arrived at her apartment, the look on her face told a different story. She wasn't anxious, she was guilty. She sat me down and confessed, "I've been talking to Jason again." Jason, the ex-boyfriend who had hurt her, the one she swore was out of her life for good. At first, I thought it was a joke, some kind of cruel prank. But the sincerity in her eyes crushed that hope. "I never stopped having feelings for him," she admitted. She claimed she was confused, that the upcoming wedding had made her reevaluate everything. But deep down, I knew this wasn't confusion. It was a choice. She tried to soften the blow by saying she needed space to figure things out. But with just a week left until our vows, there was no space left to give. I listened silently as she unraveled our relationship in a matter of minutes. She didn't even cry. I stood up, looked her in the eyes, and said, "You've made your choice. I'll make mine." Leaving her apartment that night felt surreal. The woman I had spent 2 years building a future with had blindsided me. The wedding wasn't just canceled, it was obliterated. The worst part? I still had the engagement ring, a symbol of a promise she shattered. For the first couple of days, I stayed indoors, fielding calls from family and friends who had no idea what was going on. Explaining the situation over and over drained me. But amidst the chaos, one thought became crystal clear: I needed to take back control. That's when I opened the ring box and stared at the diamond. It wasn't just a piece of jewelry anymore. It was dead weight. I realized keeping it would only anchor me to a past that no longer existed. Selling it wasn't an act of revenge. It was an act of liberation. I drove to a reputable jeweler the next morning. As I placed the ring on the counter, the jeweler examined it with professional detachment. "This is a beautiful piece," he said. I smiled, thinking, it used to be. When he handed me the check, I felt a strange mix of sadness and relief. But mostly, it felt like closure. With the money, I didn't wallow in misery. Instead, I booked a solo trip, a 2-week getaway to Italy, a place I had always wanted to visit but kept postponing. This wasn't a rebound vacation. It was a declaration that my life wasn't on hold because someone else lacked the courage to be honest. Walking the cobblestone streets of Rome, sipping espresso in Florence, and watching sunsets in Venice, I felt a part of myself rekindling. I met people, heard stories, and realized how small my heartbreak was in the grand scheme of things. Claire's betrayal no longer defined me. Back home, the news had spread. Claire had officially gotten back together with Jason. Their pictures surfaced online, the typical curated smiles and captions about second chances and fate. I didn't feel anger. I felt pity. Some people never learn their lessons. They just repeat them. Mutual friends reached out, offering apologies, some even expressing their disbelief at Claire's decision. But I didn't need their sympathy. I had found something far more valuable: clarity. The ring she had forsaken became the ticket to my freedom. Months passed, and I continued focusing on myself. I enrolled in photography classes, something I had always wanted to do. What started as a hobby soon became a passion. My weekends were now filled with capturing moments, not lamenting over memories. One afternoon, while exhibiting my photos at a local art fair, I met someone, Emily. She wasn't glamorous or flashy, but her authenticity was refreshing. Our conversation flowed effortlessly, without pretense or forced smiles. It was a stark contrast to everything I had experienced with Claire. Looking back, Claire running back to her ex was the best thing that ever happened to me. It forced me to reevaluate what I wanted, not just in a partner, but in life. I didn't lose a fiancé that week. I lost a future I was never meant to have. And selling that ring wasn't about moving on from her. It was about moving forward for myself.